We're still hanging on to that monsoon moisture producing those thunderstorms. Do we keep it going through the rest of the week? I'll let you know.
This is one more step in this process that feels super accelerated.
Building heights, ticket fees, and the future of downtown Salt Lake City. What the public is saying tonight about the Smith Entertainment Group's proposed new downtown district.
Plus, after a lot of back and forth over a very tight GOP primary election, tonight some closure. Why it's the end of the road for Colby Jenkins.
And you hear a lot about people getting a second chance in life, but it's not often they get a third chance. Hear from the Southern Utah teen who's looking to pay it forward after receiving the gift of life.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Our top story tonight is the weather. We've seen heavy storms along the Wasatch Front since the 5 o'clock hour this afternoon, and now that system has moved through Utah Valley. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Kelly Chapman. We've been seeing plenty of videos come into the Fox 13 newsroom from the Utah's Weather Authority Facebook page of this quick-moving but powerful storm. We do have live team coverage for you tonight. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser is in Orem, where we've received several reports of flooding.
But let's start with Utah's Weather Authority meteorologist Breck Bolton. Breck, where is this storm now?
Well, this storm, as it did have a huge impact here across northern Utah, now moving off towards the east. Now, it wasn't only northern Utah that saw the brunt of the precipitation, where statewide, once again, many locations picking up over an inch of rainfall. Loa 1.3, as you can see there, Circleville just over an inch. Now moving through Utah County and then pushing further northward. We did have locations getting up anywhere between a half of an inch to close to an inch there, as you can see in East Mill Creek. Even heading over towards eastern Utah, Price, you picked up 0.65 inches there over the past 24 hours. In addition, we had the rain and hail. Looking at Clearfield, looking at some of the size of these hailstones, anywhere between a nickel to almost quarter size, impressive amounts. Of course, we had the strong gusty winds as well as a lot of lightning. Now, as we look at activity here across the state, really focusing in where the storms now exiting the state. We have a few showers extreme southeastern Utah, still tracking through as we're seeing, maybe looking at some of the Wasatch back, looking at Summit County, where we're still holding on to a few isolated thunderstorms, as you can see near Park City, traveling over Jordanelle Reservoir, areas such as Camas moving off towards the east, as we're seeing right now. Things winding down for most of the Wasatch Front. We still have a line that's clipping portions of northern Utah County to the southern end of the Salt Lake Valley, but drier air coming through as we take a look at your hour-by-hour forecast. No big concerns here in the overnight hours, but do we see a repeat for tomorrow? I'll let you know coming up.
Breck, thanks so much. Things took a turn for the worse in Utah County this afternoon and evening.
And while it's calmed down since, it was looking like pretty severe weather there just a few hours ago. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser takes us live there tonight. Emily.
Bob, Kelly, absolutely. This is the second night that Utah County has been hit pretty hard by these storms, and now that it's dark, it looks like the neighborhood is calling it a night. But I wish you could have seen what it looked like even just a half an hour ago at this driveway, where there were dozens of people. Because notice how this driveway, it's a downward sloping driveway. So this home either got lots of water in the garage, in their basement, and it was all hands on deck. Neighbors of all ages, kids, parents, they were shoveling water, they were carrying water out in buckets. It was really a sight to see. Everybody was trying to help everybody. And although these storms today, they were forecasted, the amount of water was too much for the Orem community to handle. I mean, even hours later, there is still a bunch of sitting and standing water on the main roads and the side streets. People who were born and raised in the area say they've never seen anything like this before.
Some neighbors were saying that they stayed away from their windows. It was that scary.
Yeah, and even on the interstate, there was a lot of sitting water on the interstate, and that caused bumper to bumper traffic, even well after rush hour. And now, guys, take a look at this. I even had to do a double take when we pulled up here in Orem, because it's just so weird seeing all this hail in Orem in the middle of August, and all this hail even hours later is still here. It's still intact. There are piles of hail everywhere. It honestly looks like snow. It looks like salt you see near the Great Salt Lake. I really couldn't believe it, but this is what people are doing right now and dealing with right now. And like I said, it looks like the community is calling it a night, and they'll probably continue whatever efforts first thing tomorrow morning. Reporting live in Orem, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
It looks like there's a lot of branches there to clean up as well. Emily,
Yeah.
thank you so much. The flash flood warning in parts of southern Utah impacted hikers who visited Zion National Park earlier today. We spoke with one woman who came to Utah all the way from Grand Rapids, Michigan, who had to change plans on the fly because of the warning.
We got our permit for Angels Landing, so we did that before 9, and our plan was to do the Narrows after. We got back and we asked for shoes to rent, and they told us that the flash flood warning ends at like 1:45, and they had to wait 2 hours. But then it turns out it was just closed for the whole day now, so we are heading back to Vegas, which is where we drove from. So it cut our day like in half, basically. So.
Yeah, you do not want to risk it. Always obey those warnings. She says some of her hiking partners were notified of the flash flood warning while on Angel's Landing, and that she couldn't imagine being in the Narrows at that time. In other news, a 21-year-old woman is hospitalized after being hit by a car in Vernal this morning and dragged for at least 3 blocks.
Police say this happened at 10:40 this morning at the intersection of 500 South Vernal Avenue. Witnesses say they saw Brianna Berry on an electric bike be hit and dragged by the suspect vehicle, before they fled the scene. She was flown to University Hospital in Salt Lake City. Her family says she is in serious but stable condition. They say she has severe road rash on her legs, both arms, on her stomach, a small brain bleed, a broken neck, and a broken elbow. I spoke with her cousin this evening.
How is it that she is even alive at this point?
That's honestly a good question. The doctors even said that she's very lucky to be alive right now. She definitely had some guardian angels watching out for her, because her injuries, they could have been so much worse than what they are. I mean, they are really bad, but they could have been a lot worse.
Police found the suspect vehicle at an apartment complex and took a person of interest into custody. No word on who that person is, nor what charges they could be facing. We, of course, will keep you posted.
Residents and business owners went out to the Salt Lake City Council meeting tonight to have their voices heard about the Smith Entertainment Group's proposed downtown entertainment district.
Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold attended the council's formal meeting tonight. He joins us live from City Hall. Chris.
Well, good evening, Bob and Kelly. Yeah, about a dozen people spoke tonight, whether it was in person or via Zoom, during the public comment portion of the City Council meeting in regards to an ordinance that would support the creation of a sports, entertainment, culture, and convention district. Now, many people who spoke out tonight expressed some concerns, namely with how zoning changes could impact places like Abravanel Hall.
With a new sign overlay, NHL sponsors like Mike's Jersey Subs or Jägermeister could be advertised on the side of Abravanel Hall. I wonder, how often do we allow an entity to sidestep this critical process?
I ask that the council either exclude Abravanel Hall from the overlay or include it, but exclude allowing advertising of events occurring at other locations.
Well, the current plan requires zoning changes that could include requests for more electronic signage and allowing building heights up to 600 feet. Now, this year, a Senate bill passed through the legislature, paving the way for the creation of a revitalization zone around the Delta Center, which houses both the Utah Jazz and soon the Utah Hockey Club. Now, under the bill, Salt Lake City approved a 0.5% sales tax hike about a month ago. That is expected to raise around $900 million over the next 30 years. The council has until December 31st to consider adopting that sales tax increase. Now, the Smith Entertainment Group estimates that $525 million will be used on the remodel of the Delta Center, and $375 million will go to cover costs to develop the district itself. Now, while several people again voiced concerns about the proposed project tonight, others are showing their support.
I'm here to support the zoning amendment to increase the building height in the entertainment district. Salt Lake City core shouldn't have these arbitrary height restrictions. Please support the increase in building height and the other zoning requests that are attached to this.
I've vocally, spoke to this before, that I'm actually excited about this, convention district. I think it's going to bring a new vibrancy to our city. However, as I said before, I am concerned just with how fast we're going.
Public comment, and those themes are really resonating.
Now, as the public comment came to a close, Councilwoman Sarah Young addressed those who turned out. She said there are clear themes they have continued to hear in public comments regarding the issue, and something she says is really resonating in the council's conversations when it comes to next steps in this process. Now, Young went on to say they're looking to make sure the public has input throughout the process of the development agreement. Now, the council did defer action tonight. The council has until August 27th to vote on zoning changes as part of the sports, entertainment, culture, and convention district rezone per state statute deadline. For now, live here in downtown Salt Lake, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
$500 million bond is going on the November ballot in Salt Lake County to deal with homelessness, substance abuse issues, mental health issues, and public safety.
Plus, an update in the lawsuit against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints over how it used tithing money.
It's scary. It'll get your heart going for sure.
And school buses are back on the roads in parts of Utah this week. How you can help keep students and bus drivers safe.
We are 18 days away from BYU's season opener. Who will be their starting quarterback? We'll hear from the coaches coming up.
Welcome back, everyone. Voters in Utah's most populous county will be asked to vote for a $500 million bond to deal with homelessness, crime, and related issues.
Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has more.
Councilmember Bradley.
Aye.
Councilmember Stewart.
No.
The Salt Lake County Council voted 8-1 to put a $507 million bond on the November ballot.
We can solve some problems by maybe trying something different.
The bond is designed to address homelessness, public safety, mental health, and substance abuse needs, starting with creating a new Justice Accountability Center.
What this particular center does is takes people who are committing offenses that are nonviolent, but that are unfortunately nuisance crimes and crimes sometimes that are harming themselves, puts them in a center with wraparound services.
It would also expand the current Salt Lake County Jail.
We really need to improve not only the environment, but the number of beds that we have available to help people address those mental illness issues.
Salt Lake County would sell the Oxbow Jail on the South Salt Lake West Valley City border. As Fox 13 News first reported in June, the state homelessness coordinator is looking for a new shelter site. That could be prime real estate. He showed up to offer support for the bond.
We applaud that. We support that. I support it completely.
The bond adds just over $58 a year on the average Salt Lake County home's property tax bill. Mayor Wilson negotiated with the Republican majority council and got bipartisan support.
I'm not going to be a popular guy here.
Councilmember Sheldon Stewart voted no, concerned about a number of tax hikes coming.
Each year we keep coming to them, and the well is going to dry. It's going to go dry, and we may see more homelessness because we're taking more from our residents.
Other council members disagree, saying it will help combat homelessness and crime.
Is this the best time to bring this forward? I don't know for sure, but we have to do something.
I'm hoping voters will support it because it's the most fiscally responsible way to stop the cycle of what's going on right now.
A public hearing is set for September to explain the bond. Mayor Wilson has also picked up support from Governor Spencer Cox and Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall. The Utah Taxpayers Association, which is a tax watchdog group, says it's taken no position on the bond yet, but is concerned about a $500 million price tag.
This is about preserving the community we love and making sure that our family members and our community, our neighbors, our friends who are suffering and unfortunately interfacing with the criminal justice system
have better outcomes.
In Salt Lake City, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Utah Supreme Court has rejected Colby Jenkins' petition challenging the results of the Republican primary.
Jenkins lost by 176 votes to incumbent Republican Congresswoman Celeste Malloy. Jenkins sued, wanting more than 1,100 ballots counted that were shipped to an out-of-state postal service processing center and missed the postmark deadline. He believes it could change the outcome of the race. In a ruling handed down tonight, the state's top court says Utah's postmark laws are constitutional. They say voters can ensure their ballots are postmarked by going into a post office and having it hand-stamped. This means Malloy is the winner of the primary. Tonight, she released a video statement to voters in the 2nd District. Take a look.
I know it was a really long election season, and I know it was a really close race. And I know that that means a lot of people didn't vote for me. So I just want to speak to the people who didn't support me and say, I'm going to keep working for you. I'm going to work hard for Utah and for the people of the 2nd District, regardless of where they fell in this primary.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson shared a statement saying, quote, "Our county clerks are honorable people who faithfully administer elections according to the law. The court has made it abundantly clear that there is no legal basis to challenge the results of this election for any reason." The state's top court has also thrown out a petition challenging the Republican primary results by Republican candidate for governor Phil Lyman.
Lyman was contesting his loss by more than 37,000 votes to Governor Spencer Cox. He wanted Cox removed from office and the results of the primary thrown out, claiming impropriety in how Cox's campaign gathered signatures to get on the ballot. He also wanted other Republican signature gathering candidates removed from the ballot. In a ruling tonight, the Utah Supreme Court says what Lyman wanted was, quote, extraordinary. They say he's presented no viable factual or legal basis, quote unquote, to get it. Lyman has said he will now mount a write-in campaign for governor.
Well, the day started out pretty nice for many of us. Nice temperatures, sunny skies, and then this happened come late this afternoon.
Dear.
This is some flooding in Saratoga Springs. We got this video in from Denise Edmond where streets were overtook by all that water, basically turning them into rivers there.
Yeah, the storm drain system just got overwhelmed in a lot of these places.
My goodness.
Wow, let's go over to meteorologist Breck Bolton with the latest on this storm. Breck.
Yeah, it's hard to see that. As we mentioned, that's the 2nd day they've had to contend with a lot of rain and flooding. As the rain does continue to fall, moving away from the Wasatch Front, we've been holding on to some showers near Park City. This is actually along US 40 near Jordanelle Reservoir. The rain has been really piling up, or pooling, I should say, as it's posing a problem in your travels if you're having to make your way there with some standing water. As the storms do push further eastward, we're going to have some concerns, mainly as we look towards Duchesne County and then over towards the Uinta Basin. Right now, though, it's a beautiful view, kind of a calm sunset just tapering off there, where it's just ending the day where we can kind of breathe a little bit easier in the overnight hours. Current temperature in Logan, 62 degrees, upper 60s at this hour in Salt Lake City. Still holding on to the 90s in St. George as we show you the high temperatures today across the state. Again, below average. A few locations here along the Wasatch Front only getting up into the 80s. Of course, during the afternoon hours, some of the hottest points of the day, we had the clouds and the rain showers here across northern Utah. Only made it up to 79 degrees today in Evanston. Still triple digits, though, in St. George. As we look at the watches and warnings where we had flash flood warnings in effect, still holding on to that, as you can see near Moab, where the storm's having an impact pretty much statewide through central, southeastern Utah. As we're looking at that region, though, the storm's moving away. We're seeing those showers now pushing through Colorado, so we're definitely going to be breathing easier. No big concerns here across southern Utah come tomorrow. We're still holding on to some residual moisture and a few scattered lighter rain showers here. As you can take a look, we have this band moving through a little bit more intense. As I mentioned, Heber pushing off towards the east. We'll be moving through Duchesne County. We take a look, though, where we can continue to see some showers making their move through Utah County. We're not going to see the intense thunderstorm activity, no concerns of flooding, but we'll keep conditions fairly wet here for the next hour or two. As we push through about midnight, things really do taper off, even for the southern end of the Wasatch Front, as drier air moving in. But things lining up tomorrow, where we do have residual moisture in place across northern, northeastern Utah, southwest Wyoming. This is a zone that we could see a few isolated thunderstorms, not as widespread as we saw today. But as we look for southern Utah, as I mentioned, the moisture really exiting the state, moving eastward. Thus, for tomorrow, flash flood potential, significant improvements there. It's not even a possibility. We're just not expecting to see much going on there. But across northern Utah, some areas as we track through for tomorrow afternoon. Now, let's take a look at the computer models here for tonight. Past midnight, we're starting to see maybe a few lingering showers again in the Uinta Basin. Tomorrow, waking up, no issues for your morning commute. Look what happens, though, as we head into the early afternoon. We start to see some activity near the Utah-Idaho border, so maybe Tremont heading over towards Bear Lake. Afternoon, again, more active. Wasatch back through the Uinta Basin, but not much here along the Wasatch Front as we line things up for Thursday. Really, across the state, we're not expecting to see much rain at all. So we're definitely pushing away this moisture. As we look here for tonight, we're going to see some definite improvements, except across northeastern Utah. Again, extreme northern Utah, northeastern Utah, we hold on to a threat of showers. We'll still keep temperatures a little bit cool in that we'll see near triple digits, but back above triple digits heading into the weekend. And then we start to see another surge of some moisture on Sunday and Monday. Northern Utah, slight risk again, extreme northern Wasatch Front. Thursday, Friday are dry, and then isolated thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday. All in all, we're warming back up into the 90s, close to average. Looks like it'll be toasty for the weekend. We'll be back right after the break.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is asking for a proposed class action lawsuit over its use of tithing dollars thrown out of court. In a new court filing, lawyers for the church say the people suing are purporting to speak for millions of active members of the faith. Now, the lawsuit claims tithing money was misused for investments and not charity. The church counters the lawsuit steps on the autonomy of a religion in violation of the First Amendment.
We now know the identity of the man who went missing this weekend near Godland Valley State Park. Park officials say 62-year-old Howard Stone's vehicle was parked at Little Wild Horse Canyon Trailhead Saturday, and he hasn't been heard from since. They've done searches of the canyons and surrounding areas without luck. They're asking everyone to keep an eye out for him. If you learn of anything, or if you have seen him or know where he is, call the Emery County Sheriff's Office.
The man accused of abusing and killing a Roy 2-year-old pleaded guilty in court today. What happens next, and how long could he be in prison?
2 updates from police are sparking questions about gang violence here in the Salt Lake Valley, especially with teens. I'll share more about what that means coming up.
Keeping kids safe around school. The new fines drivers face for speeding in a school zone.
Who will be under center when BYU plays their season opener in 18 days? Will it be Jerry Bohannon or Jake Retzlaff? We'll hear from the coaches on who the guy could be at QB1.
The man accused of abusing and killing a Roy toddler pleaded guilty in court today.
This suspect was once considered a friend to a Roy family who trusted him to babysit their 2-year-old twins. Before moving to severe weather coverage tonight, Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser had the update on this heartbreaking case.
This is State of Utah versus Jonathan Allen Dunn.
37-year-old Jonathan Dunn enters the courtroom ready to admit to the crimes he committed to 2 Roy toddlers back in December.
To the charge of aggravated murder, a first-degree felony. How do you plead? Guilty.
On Tuesday, Dunn pled guilty to aggravated murder, along with 2 counts of aggravated sexual abuse of a child and aggravated child abuse.
Those twins were subjected to multiple forms of abuse, including hitting with a mallet, hitting with a gun, slamming into a wall.
4 days before Christmas in 2023, a 2-year-old boy was found on a front porch not breathing. His twin sister was discovered with similar injuries and bruises inside.
As a result of that child abuse, One child, Laura, the 2-year-old female, did sustain serious bodily injury, including a brain bleed. She survived.
The second child, Alistair, died at the hospital. Dunn's sentencing is set for next Wednesday. As part of a plea agreement, the 4 counts will be served concurrently, and he won't be up for the death penalty.
He's pleading to life without possibility of parole in prison.
This isn't the first time Dunn has pled guilty to child abuse. He was sentenced to prison back in 2017 for the second-degree felony. Reporting in Ogden, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
2 updates from police are sparking questions about gang violence, especially for teens.
Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi spoke with Salt Lake law enforcement about the bigger picture.
I had gunshots and police running through my yard at 4 a.m. after this happened.
Eric Kerr lives across the Mount Olympus trailhead. Early in the morning on August 3rd, police say 18-year-old Naod Welde was shot and killed and 2 others were assaulted in the parking lot. On Monday night, SWAT teams with the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office arrested 20-year-old Mateo Martinez and an unidentified 15-year-old. Sheriff Rosie Rivera says the 2 will face homicide charges.
These are violent individuals. They belong to a violent gang, known gang here in Salt Lake County.
But the Salt Lake County Sheriff's Office believes the victims had no ties to any gang and that this was random.
We do not believe they are gang involved at all. They were just probably in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it was just very unfortunate and very tragic.
When I spoke with people at the trailhead and told them what happened, there was a lot of shock.
Kind of an unusual experience, kind of surprising, typically very safe.
At Tuesday's Salt Lake County Council meeting, Eric says more needs to be done to protect that area.
Since the parking lot has gone in, we've seen an increase in shenanigans and gang activity. A lot of youth gathering late at night till early in the morning.
Now, there was another gang-related arrest in Salt Lake City Monday night by the Salt Lake City Police Department's gang unit. A 19-year-old taken into custody after a shooting Saturday night that injured a 55-year-old woman.
We do recognize that type of activity does happen in our community, and we're grateful again to have our gang unit to stay connected, to stay involved in what's going on in our community and provide that extra resource to our other detectives and our other officers.
Sheriff Rosie Rivera says there is an alarming trend when it comes to gang activity across the county and state.
We're finding out that there's more juveniles involved, and that is what's concerning.
Trying to get families involved to help prevent gang violence.
Many times you can tell, by their clothing, or they've got a new tattoo, or really, we identify them because they tell us they're part of a gang. So if your child is telling you they're part of a gang, you probably want to get more involved.
At the Mount Olympus trailhead, I am Maithili Gubi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
School officials want to remind drivers to pay attention to never pass a school bus with its stop arm extended. Fox 13 News spoke with a school bus driver who's worked for the Salt Lake City School District for the past 20 years. And while she hasn't had any students get hurt by a vehicle that ignored the stop sign, she's had her fair share of close calls. She's seen an increase now in motorists ignoring school bus warning lights and the stop signs that are designed to keep the students riding the bus safe.
It is a big concern when you got drivers that are just really impatient and don't want to give us our 2 to 3 minute time to, load and unload the children. They pass our lights and it's a big safety issue.
Violators can face a $1,000 fine and 20 hours of community service for a first offense, and up to a $3,000 fine and 40 hours of community service for a third or subsequent offense.
We also want to remind you about a new law that raises the fine for speeding in a school zone. Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree explains.
I want to make a difference and be part of the community.
This school year will be Marsha Archer's first as a crossing guard at Washington Elementary.
When they get out of school, they've been in school for 7 hours. And so they get impulsive and they don't think, oh, I gotta stop, I gotta look. And kids are small, and there's cars that just aren't gonna see these little small kids.
During the last legislative session,
Representative Robert Spenlove sponsored a bill that was passed into law, raising the fine for speeding in a school zone from $50 to $250.
This is essentially just updating those for inflation, but also to send the message that we need to be watching out for kids.
It's important to remember there are different laws for school zone crosswalks. In a standard crosswalk with parallel lines, you can drive through once everyone has crossed halfway through the road. In a school zone crossing with zebra stripes, you have to wait until all pedestrians have crossed from one side to the other.
When we're going through a construction zone, we slow down because we see a sign saying, fines will be double in a construction zone. So this is just saying when we've got kids that are out on the street, that are walking across the street, that are in danger, we want to make sure that people are really thinking about that.
Neighbors hoping the higher penalties will make drivers slow down and look out for kids.
One kid dying should probably make an impact on a community, and if that's the case, then I think people should be thinking about it.
In Salt Lake City, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still to come, a southern Utah teenager gets a new lease on life with a third kidney transplant. Today, he was able to go back to a sport he thought he'd never play again. We'll share his story.
Today marked 29 years since the murder of 6-year-old Rosie Tapia, which to this day remains unsolved. On August 13th, 1995, Rosie's family found she was missing from her bedroom, prompting a missing persons investigation. Her body was later found in a Salt Lake City canal. Investigators said she had been sexually assaulted before she died. Her family marks the grim anniversary by visiting her grave each year in the Mount Calvary Cemetery in Salt Lake, holding on to hope that the person responsible will someday be brought to justice.
We know that there's somebody out there that knows something, or somebody that knows who did it, and I just want that person to know that I'm not giving up.
Rosie would have been 35 years old today. Salt Lake police say the case is ongoing. Anyone with any information about this crime should call the Salt Lake Police Department at 801-799-3000.
In Wasatch County, deputies are recommending charges for the person who shot and killed their neighbor's dog over the weekend. Deputies say it happened last Saturday. Amy Simpson says when she got the call about her Swiss Mountain Dog of 8 years named Blue getting shot, she was stunned. Simpson claims the suspect had been obsessed with her dog for years.
She was just sitting outside of her house, and her and my dog and her dog, and the neighbor decided to come over and drag him out into the road and shoot him in the back of the head. The town is just honestly outraged. I can't believe the support and the overflowing of text messages and flowers, and I mean, my heavens, they've lined the street with ribbons. I feel like he was almost like the mascot of the street.
Wasatch County Sheriff Jared Rigby says this incident is being taken very seriously, adding the safety of the community, including its animals, is a top priority. Today, a 17-year-old in Richfield dove into a pool with his swim team for the first time since he had another kidney transplant back in May.
After a kidney he got from his father when he was 2 years old failed, Henry Coulter got a miracle courtesy of retired Draper Army Reserve Major Monica Lejour, who gave Henry the gift of life on her birthday. Now, Henry says he's going to pay it forward.
Monica has been such an inspiration for my whole family. She actually inspired my uncle to go and donate his kidney. He went and donated that the 24th of July, and so she's been such an inspiration for our family.
Sevier Valley Hospital had coordinated with Primary Children's Hospital to bring pediatric dialysis services to the rural area for Henry. Those services will remain to help future young patients in Sevier County in need of kidney care.
Well, as we go to a break, sharing a view from our Oquirrh Mountain camera, not seeing the storm clouds as we're looking at temperatures in the overnight hours, cool and comfortable. But as we turn off the rain, do we start cranking up the heat? We'll take a look at the rest of the week's forecast after the break.
The Utah opens this week at Riverside Country Club in Provo, and as it always does, the week starts with the big event, Special Olympic Short Game Challenge. I'll tell you about my amazing teammate coming up in sports.
Coming back from the break, take a look at this. This was crazy. We talked about the flooding and the conditions down in Utah County. This is at Timpanogos High School in Orem this afternoon. Now, they're not quite in school yet down there in the Alpine School District, but I'm telling you what, that's an awful lot of water.
It sure is. You know, oftentimes I believe schools and parks are built to be these retention basins when we do get big rains like this, Breck. So I know we've had some areas where, you know, the storm systems were overloaded.
I know. We've been overloaded here over the past couple of days, where once again many locations across the state picking up close to an inch of rain in a short period of time. It's these thunderstorms, that monsoon moisture. We see this activity, we've been getting it, and now we get a break. Outside right now, a view as we look across the Salt Lake Valley, things are clear, calm. A few high clouds, temperatures in the upper 60s. Yeah, we're pushing the storms away. Improvements expected here in the overnight hours and moving ahead at least through most of the work week. So expect to see less of those thunderstorms. A few areas, maybe an isolated thunderstorm, extreme northern Utah towards northeastern Utah. But for the Wasatch Front, for the rest of the state, we're looking to be dry. Now, temperatures on the rise. Actually getting close to average, maybe even slightly above, as we should be in the low 90s here along the Wasatch Front. But that monsoon moisture, it creeps back in just in time for the weekend, so we'll reintroduce a possibility of some showers and maybe even some thunderstorms. Now, excessive rain outlook for tomorrow. Over the past couple of days, a good portion of the state was under the shield of seeing that chance of excessive rain. We are not seeing tomorrow, nothing on the map. That's why we're saying, yeah, tomorrow should be a great day with a lot of sunshine, as temperatures still not too bad, actually slightly below average here along the Wasatch Front. Now, currently, we're still holding on to a few areas of seeing somewhat some active weather. Few isolated showers, as you can see, once again tracking as we look, heading up Provo Canyon, moving over towards Heber. Looks like kind of a more of a northeastern direction where it's tracking through Duchesne County on its way towards the Uinta Basin. But all in all, we are starting to wind down, conditions dry. High pressure shifting towards the east. That cuts off the supply of moisture. That monsoon flow will not be in place, at least across the state. More, as you can see, an impact here throughout Colorado, heading over towards the Midwest. Now, we had a little disturbance, a little front that moved through. That's allowing for the instability to kind of wane and move away. There's that low pressure system. The high, again, staying east, but it's back on its move here, moving closer towards the Four Corners area, heading into Thursday and Friday. It's setting itself up once again where we bring in some heat, but also some moisture returning, as I mentioned, for the weekend. But for tomorrow, where we see the rain, again, it's looking at potentially Price, heading up to some of the Wasatch back in western Uinta Mountains and extreme northern Utah as well. So that's the zone as it spills over into southwest Wyoming. But you can see for most of the Wasatch Front, we should be okay. Maybe a few sprinkles across, looks like the southern end of the Wasatch Front to maybe some of the areas in central Utah. But as we go here over the next couple of days, we're really going to be drying things out and seeing some big improvements. So here for tonight, mid 60s, could maybe see a lightning strike over the mountains. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at 80s here along the Wasatch Front, potentially get up to 90 degrees in Ogden. Temperatures, again, a little bit on the rise here for St. George. That monsoon moisture does bring a chance of maybe seeing a few isolated showers Sunday and Monday, northern Utah. As we push away the rain, we're going to see a break, but Saturday and Sunday, maybe an isolated shower, which could spill over into next week, but we bring temperatures back into the 90s.
The BYU football team is 18 days away from their season opener, but they still don't know who the starting quarterback will be against Southern Illinois. Jerry Bohannon and Jake Retzlaff have been battling for the job during fall camp, but while head coach Kalani Sitake said the position is starting to take form, they're not ready to name who the QB will be.
No, we're not ready to make any announcement, but I think we have some really good quarterbacks, and those two have definitely improved since practice one to now. So in terms of the quarterback position, it's hard to make a decision right now. Those have to happen naturally. It's not going to be anything that we can force feed or create a deadline on. So we've been through quarterback competitions before. I think when it's right, then we'll be able to announce it. But right now, it's not the time.
We're getting there, but
Not in a hurry. I mean, we're going to just keep playing for a little bit. My experience with these things is usually the decision gets made on the field and it gets to a point where everybody on the team knows, and then when we say who the starter is, everybody's like, yeah, duh, you know, like that's what we're looking for. We're not quite there. It's a good battle, but we'll keep going for a while. There's no rush.
The NBA released the group play schedule for the Emirates NBA Cup. The Jazz are in Group B. They'll host the Phoenix Suns on November 12th to their first game in that tournament. The Jazz will also play the Los Angeles Lakers, San Antonio Spurs, and Oklahoma City Thunder. 8 teams from these 6 groups will advance to the knockout rounds. I had the privilege of teaming up with Mason Melver to play in the Special Olympics Short Game Challenge to kick off Utah Open Week at Riverside Country Club in Provo. We played well enough to tie for first place and win a medal, but winning medals is nothing new for Mason. He's an accomplished athlete at Spectrum Academy, a charter school for neurodiverse children. Mason loves to play every sport, especially basketball and golf.
I thought we did really good, and we can improve.
That's always important, right? Getting better every day.
Yep.
Nice shot. What do you like about golf? Nice putt.
I like watching Steph golf.
Steph Curry.
Yep.
Did you see him in the Olympics?
Yep.
He's pretty fantastic, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, and he likes to play golf just like you. You guys are like twins.
Mason loves athletics, and that's why we're here. We're so thankful for Special Olympics Utah, the organization that they have for these kids to be able to participate and find success in areas that they don't usually get to find success in.
Pretty great stuff. When we won the medal and our names were announced, he looked at me and goes, I guess I got to get another medal.
Mason.
He wins so many, it's just happened.
He just doesn't have any more room on his medal and trophy.
Him and Steph
board.
Curry, yeah.
Can't
all
tell
those
them apart.
medals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
both so talented.
Congratulations, Mason. Good job.
Yeah, way to
you
go,
too.
bud.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Boy.
You have the last word, Bob.
Quick Cast is coming up next.
Stick around.
If you dare.